When I look back now, it's almost unbelievable how invisible I felt in my own marriage. My name is Emily Parker, and for years, I thought being a wife meant putting myself last. My husband, Daniel, was a good man by most people's standards, steady job, paid the bills, never raised his voice. But behind closed doors, I often felt like a shadow in my own home, walking quietly through hallways where laughter had long since faded. When Daniel and I first met, everything seemed perfect. I was 26, a bright-eyed teacher just starting my career, and he was 30, already climbing a ladder at an insurance company. We met at a friend's wedding, and within a year we were married. At first, I believed the way he looked at me meant I'd always be seen, always cherished. But as years passed, the sparkle dimmed. His work consumed him, and his love, though present in duty, felt absent in warmth. I tried to ignore it, convincing myself it was normal for passion to fade into routine. But deep down, I longed for something more, conversation that lingered, a touch that wasn't rushed, laughter that filled the empty spaces. I remember one particular evening when it hit me the hardest. I had made Daniel's favorite dinner, chicken pot pie with roasted vegetables, and set the table with candles, hoping to spark some of the romance we used to have. He came home late, eyes glued to his phone, and muttered, "Thanks, Em," before eating in silence. He didn't even notice the candles. He didn't see the effort. That night, I washed the dishes with tears streaming down my face, realizing how invisible I had become in my own marriage. The turning point came when I started volunteering at a local community center after school. I had signed up to help with literacy classes for adults, thinking it would give me purpose outside of my quiet home. That's where I met Michael. He was nothing like Daniel, an artist with a warm smile, a man who asked questions and actually listened to the answers. At first, I kept my guard up. After all, I was married. But the more I worked alongside him, the more I realized how much I had been missing, not just love, but being seen. Michael noticed things no one else did. If I wore a new scarf, he complimented the color. If I looked tired, he'd ask if I was okay. Simple things, but they made me feel alive again. One afternoon, as we sorted books in the center's library, he asked softly, "Emily, are you happy?" The question stunned me. No one had asked me that in years. I opened my mouth to answer, but nothing came out. That silence said more than words ever could. Back home, I started reflecting on my marriage. I didn't want to betray Daniel or break vows lightly, but I couldn't ignore the emptiness anymore. I tried talking to him once, twice, 3 times. I told him I felt unseen, that I needed more than just shared bills and quiet dinners. But he always brushed it off, saying, "Things are fine, Em. You worry too much." Fine. That word haunted me. Was I supposed to live a life that was just fine? As months passed, I grew closer to Michael, not through romance, but through genuine friendship. He encouraged me to start painting again, a hobby I had abandoned after marriage. For the first time in years, I felt like myself. The more I found myself, the more I realized how lost I had been. Love wasn't just about staying together, it was about being present, about truly seeing one another. One evening, I stayed late at the community center. Michael was painting a mural, and I sat nearby sketching. He looked over at me and said quietly, "You deserve to be happy, Emily. Don't let anyone make you feel small." His words echoed in my heart long after I left. That night, I lay awake beside Daniel, staring at the ceiling, realizing that invisibility was no longer something I was willing to accept. The decision wasn't easy. I cried for nights, torn between loyalty and longing. But in the end, I chose myself. I sat down with Daniel one Saturday morning and told him the truth, not about Michael, but about the emptiness. I told him I couldn't live in a marriage where I felt invisible. His response was as quiet as our dinners. "If that's how you feel, then maybe you should go." No fight, no plea, just resignation. And in that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. Leaving was painful. I packed my things into boxes, every sweater and photo carrying years of memories. But with each box I closed, I felt a weight lifting. I moved into a small apartment near the community center, starting over at 35. Scary, yes, but liberating. Michael was there, not as a replacement, but as a friend. Over time, our bond grew deeper, rooted in respect and understanding. One rainy evening, months after I had left Daniel, he walked me home from the center. As we stood by my door, he took my hand gently and said, "Emily, you're not invisible to me. You never were." Tears filled my eyes, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming realization that I had finally been found. Today, I share my story not to cast blame on Daniel, but to remind anyone feeling invisible that love should never make you feel small. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. Because when you do, love, real love, will always find you. And it did.